Illinois at the center of President Trump's immigration crackdown, and one of the latest ICE arrests there might surprise you. Rajul Bajovic was working as a sworn police officer with the Hanover Park Police Department. Just one problem. He was visiting from Montenegro on a tourist visa and required to leave the United States over 10 years ago. Yet just this August, he graduated from the police academy and was given a badge and a gun.
Pritzker and all these far leftist Democrats, they just hate Trump because he's not the typical politician. This is why there should be term limits. That's what it's called, term limits on a lot of these politicians. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Should all these politicians have term limits just like the presidents of the United States?
Says he was cleared to work. Quote, all information we received from the federal government indicated that Officer Bojovic is legally authorized to work in the United States as a police officer. But now the illegal alien remains in DHS custody. Here to discuss the disturbing details more, former acting ICE director Jonathan Fahey.
Wow.
Great to have you here, Jonathan. You know, I want to also note that the town said that this individual had a work authorization card issued by the federal government. Not only did he have this card from U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, the card was valid and recently renewed, and he also passed a background check. How does this happen?
I'm highly skeptical of what the town is saying on this because we know in Illinois they are basically full-on pro-illegal immigrants. And remember, this is J.D. Pritzker signed a bill, I believe it was July of 2023, allowing non-citizens to be police officers. Amazingly enough, that you would have even non-citizens being police officers.
Wait, what?
But they knew this type of thing would happen. We know how Chicago, we know how Illinois treats illegal aliens, which is typically the same or better than American citizens. So I find it skeptical that there was any serious vetting, but it's a real problem that we would even have a system where non-citizens could be police officers. But J.D. Pritzker, again, signed this into law because they always put illegal aliens and non-citizens ahead of citizens.
You know, Jonathan, I also...
Okay, so non-citizen and illegal citizen are two different things. So if the governor of Illinois decided in 2023 to sign something that says that if you are a non-citizen, you are able to become a police officer in the state, well, okay, as long as their background check are cleared and everything's good, no crimes have been committed in this country, you should be allowed to become a police officer. But we should be encouraging them to become U.S. citizens before applying to become a police officer, in my opinion. Now, if this individual is illegal in this country, no, you do not fall under the 2023. That shouldn't even be part of it. No matter what the governor says, the federal government should override that. The federal government should say, no, nobody in this country, if you come into this country illegally, you should not be in law enforcement at all. You should not be in the United States military at all. If you want to become a police officer, if you want to be part of the United States military, you come to this country legally and you become a U.S. citizen, and then you can join the force in whichever you want, local PD or the military.
I want to note, we've covered on this program multiple times the Des Moines County Superintendent, who was also here illegally. We have his picture, we'll pull it up. And while you address that matter, I also want to scroll his history of criminal conduct. You know, in this case, they said that they were deceived. They don't assert that the federal government said he could be here. But how many of these individuals do you think are working in police departments?
See what I mean?
And teaching our students?
Jesus.
I think there are an awful lot of them because that's also a school system which, again, was pro-illegal immigrant and doing everything they can probably to not find out, or even if they knew, they looked the other way. So I think there's a lot of them out there, and it's really shameful because, again, these jobs, one, should be for Americans, but also people that we should have good enough vetting, particularly for law enforcement, to make sure we have people legally here, and they really should be citizens. It's utter nonsense, and it's, again, people... J.D. Pritzker, other people try to blur the lines between illegal aliens and citizens all the time, and this is just another example of that.
Yeah, I want to play a clip from Pritzker. He seems to have more of a problem with American citizens like Stephen Miller than some of these illegal immigrants in his town. Let's listen to this.
Wild.
The people who serve for the president, including all the way down to ICE agents, can be held accountable when there's a change of administration. Stephen Miller is clearly ordering people to break the law. So, he
Also,
should know that, it may be 3 years from now that he is held accountable, but make sure, I think it's important for them to know that whatever they do now, it's not like we're going to forget.
So Pritzker wants to arrest Americans now?
Yeah, exactly. He's basically threatening Stephen Miller and other people if they continue doing their job, which is enforcing federal law, federal immigration law. He's going to find a way to harm them. So it really is, threatening them. Again, the people that are putting their lives on the line, these ICE agents, putting them at greater danger and threatening to arrest them for doing their job. You really can't think of many examples in American history where a governor is standing in the way of federal law being enforced to this degree. And it really shows not only a lot sort of bad things about J.D. Pritzker, but where the Democratic Party is, because he wants to be the Democratic nominee for president. So he knows he has to be so radical on this issue, but not only favoring illegal immigration at every level, but also to harm the people trying to enforce it. And it's just really staggering if you think about it. But again, what he is doing and what Brandon Johnson is doing is really skirting the line of alien harboring and other types of things.
Yep, law-abiding Americans. He wants to go after them. Thank you, Jonathan.
And the Illinois governor, the same man who is calling all these agents and the guard thugs because they're out there proactively doing their jobs. And, this is all appointed by the president. And it's because it's appointed by president. And who's the president? Donald Trump and Pritzker and all these far leftist Democrats. They just hate Trump because he's not the typical politician that is, moving along with the system and what they are trying to do to basically say false information to the American public and do under-the-table dealings with elites and all these corrupted people to make sure that they're in the positions for as long as they can. And this is why a lot of people started liking Donald Trump when he said a lot of politicians should not be lifetime politicians. A lot of them should have contracts where they're only in for a couple years and then bam, they get swapped out with somebody else. Because the longer you have people sitting in government, the more chances they are that these people get so comfortable, they start figuring out ways to continue staying even more comfortable by doing illegal activities within their political seats. And this is why there should be term limits. That's what it's called, term limits on a lot of these politicians. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Should all these politicians have term limits just like the presidents of the United States? Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Like and subscribe. I would appreciate it. Till next time, peace out, everybody. This one's for Charlie.